Today is Thursday, the 8th of January, here at the Elephant Nature Park near Chiang Mai, Thailand. Just wanted to do a little recap of today, which is a lot of communication with the animals in regards to how they actually communicate, I and the animals communicate, as well as a couple other things of their other kinds of communication, of their physical communication, not only telepathic, clairvoyant, knowingness communication, but also of the physical movements that they do and what that means, as well as the other parts of having the bull. There was something that happened when we met the male elephant, which is called a bull. We met with him today and what happened at that point, as well as the touch of the elephants and what the touch was doing for another elephant. So I'm going to begin with a communication, how I communicate and how the animals communicate. It is something that it is through telepathic means, clairvoyant means, and knowingness means, which all those things deciphered are: telepathic is as if you were to think thoughts and hear a voice, like as you read a book. That is a way of the telepathic method, that you hear a voice and it has actual words to it. Each of these elephants, each of the animals that I meet, has a different voice. So each character, as humans are, have different voices. All the animals have different voices, be it whatever kind of animal we're talking about. So that is telepathic means, and that is up here in this area of the head. And then you have the clairvoyant means, which is here within, if you want to talk chakras, 5th chakra for telepathic through here, and then 6th chakra for clairvoyant, which is the seeing. The seeing is the imagination, the images, and it's more of a connection of the higher self. And so each way that you communicate, have it be telepathic, which is a lower level, than clairvoyance, which is a higher level of seeing the images that the animals show me. So they will show me that they want something or need something, and I'll see that image, and then I can relay that image to the person who is the parent or owner of that animal. It's the same thing with the elephants. They communicate in the same way. Although I do find that elephants have this communication on the knowingness level, which, if you want to get into the chakras, it's a 7th chakra, which they're connected completely with divinity, whatever, God, however you want to decipher that. I like to call it unconditional love. They're tapped into the unconditional love, which all animals are, but the more they're domesticated, the less they have that ability to tap in, because they become more like us and less like nature, which nature runs on unconditional love. And so when I'm talking about unconditional love, some people have the idea that unconditional love means that there's no strife, there's no anger, there's no nothing. That is very untrue. You look at nature and animals attack other animals and eat other animals. That is still under unconditional love. But there's a synchronicity that nature has that we are pretty much out of, at least in the modern world. And that is why the elephants called me here, and that is why the animals chose me to come and talk and do this job, which is totally different than what I did before. So that is how we communicate. And so the next thing was, it is with that communication, there are no borders. I can communicate with elephants. I had communicated with these elephants from Santa Cruz, California. So there are no borders when you do use these higher methods of communication. So there's also the way of communication, which scientists think, especially now with AI, they're trying to decode animals and their communication. Let me just tell you, the animals don't always communicate with sounds. So off the bat, that is quite a big, we'll just say, step in a direction that may not be the best step. It is something that the way that animals communicate, because they are connected with unconditional love, with nature, there is this energetic way that they communicate. You can see that with your dog, your cat, your horse, that there's a, hey, back off, I've had enough of you kind of thing. And we sense that. Yet in modern times, we don't abide by those rules a lot of the time because we think that we're superior to them, which from my experience, that is very untrue. And it's something that the actions and the sounds of these animals have much more than what science has derived so far. We're just starting to look into the things that are beyond the eye with animals. And let me tell you, it is way beyond the eye with these animals. They have such a connection with each other, like I was explaining yesterday, with each other that the horses, sorry, I'm used to saying horses. The dogs are in tune with the elephants, protecting the elephants, making sure it's safe for them. The birds are watching over the elephants are watching over the birds. The cats are the connection between the earth and the stars, or the more celestial beings, because they do tend to sleep a lot. But the elephants, like I said yesterday, it was more of something that they are so grounded in the present time, more grounded than other animals. They just have such a, it's not a heavy feeling, it's a presence. And that is another way that I want to talk about the communication, that different animal communicators communicate at different levels, at different methods. And the most important thing is that when you try to communicate with animals, that you are grounded. Somebody can be grounded by doing breath work or feeling their feet on the floor or being in the center of their head. But without being grounded, these animals will not want to communicate with you, because it is something that we are a threat. And plus, in order to hear them, we need to be grounded, because we get in our own way, in our own head, if we're ungrounded. When we are grounded and present, that is when the messages come through, and that's when you can start to trust and then talk with your animal and get validation, just like I was saying the other day. The other aspect of the communication was the elephant today flipped her trunk on the ground, and it was like a clicking sound. And that was a warning. She warned us about the truck that was behind us. She warned us about the bull, that he was an aggressive male. And so she had that message. But if you just look at that clicking of the trunk, you can say, okay, they warned us, but is there anything more to that? Yes, there's other times that they use that, but it means different things depending on the sound, the blow with the sound, the other movements of the ears with the trunk. So it's a lot more intricate than just the movement of the trunk and that clicking noise. And going into the these two females, one was going with the trunk into the anus of the other female. And I asked her, what are you doing? And she kept saying, air enema, air enema. I was thinking, okay. And so then I was curious and asked her more. And she was showing me that it was like a massage and blowing into the rectum on the sphincter of the other female, because what it did, it helped relax the sphincter, the anus, and then also helped relax the colon. And that goes into the whole thing of how much it is so important that these animals, including our animals, especially horses, because they are boxed up, at least in the US, in their corrals, in their stables. It's very much single person with the horse. But what I'm trying to say is that without this touch, this very delicate touch, they know how to cure each other of colic. They know how to, elephants get colic too, I found out today, which is not surprising because they're eating more of a different diet. But they know how to cure each other of these ailments, and that touch that they have and the knowledge that they have. Even horses, what they do is they rub on muscles. They rub in different areas. I even saw today, and I asked the horses, do they do the same thing with the anus as well? And they showed me yes. And that was a telepathic communication with horses that I communicate with. And so it is something that they harbor all this kind of information, and we need to respect them for all the information that they do have. It is not something that we are discovering this, discovering that. It's like, hey, let's listen to them, and then we can have that discovering in a whole different method, and not, oh, I'm going to be the one who discovers this about the communication of animals and blah, 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 blah. It's more of a coming together and honoring the animals in the way that they portray things, the way that they have this knowledge that we lack, that we have forgotten. So thank you for listening.